What's up, guys? So after a very long time of trial and error, I was finally able to do this. Alexa, turn on projector open.
Okay.
So yep, you got that right. I can now turn on and off the coffee table by just using voice. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is a dope build. Watch this. I can do this all day. Alexa, turn on projector closed.
Okay.
Oh my God, that is so loud. Please, don't be dramatic. It's not. I'll show you why it does sound the way it does later on in the video. We're literally talking about 9 to 10 seconds of operation time. So if you just absolutely cannot stand this sound, then do away with the actuator and just open and close this as it is. But just remember, it's not a dope build at that point. It's just a cool build. To give you a quick rundown, in my last upload, I showed how this coffee table was made. The concept was to hide a projector and also have the coffee table function as a regular coffee table. With that in mind, I added a secret compartment. I also added a pop-up outlet and a few other things to accomplish this look. Due to time constraint, I had to drop a few of the ideas I had for this concept just so I can get the project done. Now, as cool as this is to open the coffee table with a button, it's also cooler if you can then open it by voice, which is what I'm going to show you how I did. So I did breeze over the actuator section in the first video, and I want to shed some light on it in hopes to clarify some of that. The actuator came with a couple cleavage pins, which would have worked just fine. I went with the nuts and bolt because I didn't really want the plate that you would have more than likely get with the cleavage pins. The plate I have on the actuator is just an extension so that I can attach it to the moving section of the coffee table. I temporarily mounted the actuator to the base of the coffee table. Once I had the actuator extended all the way out, I then attached that to the coffee table. I then ran a few more tests, and once I got it all sorted out, I drilled out the hole in the actuator to accept a 1/4" bolt. To secure that, I used the washer and the nut. This is my way of playing it safe, so if the actuator ever failed, I can loosen up this bolt, pop it up, and then open the compartment. Now this part is gonna get a little technical, so I'm gonna do the best I can to try to simplify this and hopefully keep it understandable. To pair Alexa with the Wi-Fi relay, you'll need to download the iWii Link app. And if you don't have one already, you'll need to create an account. Now power up the Wi-Fi relay and press and hold any one of the buttons for 7 seconds. This will put the device in a pairing mode. While the LED is blinking, tap the plus to add a device, select pairing mode, and then hit next. Now enter your Wi-Fi password. And this is where things get super tricky because apparently my router was not compatible. Basically everything that my router should not be to be compatible with this device, it was. Password with special characters, dual band frequency, and so on. The requirement is to have a 2.4 gig network, but after doing a bunch of trial and error, what I got to work was disabling security, and that did the trick. With the device now paired, it was onto the Alexa app. Now click the drop down menu and select skills and games. With the launch of that, you can now search for the iWii Link app. If you're seeing it for the first time, more than likely yours is going to be disabled. All you want to do is enable it. Next, you're going to get this pop-up to scan the network so you can locate the device. So if you click on plug, that's where you'll see the 4-channel receiver. And if you notice, 2 of the channels have already been renamed. So I encourage you to name it to something that makes the most sense to you. For me, I name it projector open and projector close. And at this point, they're talking, so feel free to explore. So if you're a Google Home person, this would also work with that as well. So if you want to pull this off, look cool, and do it by voice, you're going to need a 4-channel relay, which is a Wi-Fi from Sonoff. You're going to need an actuator, a 12-volt power supply, and this one, I have the ends cut off of it, another power supply that's going to power this directly. And let's not forget the Amazon Echo. We're also going to need a few pieces of wire that we can use as jumpers. To get started with this, you're going to need to remove the 4 screws from each corner so that you can remove the cover. So if we take a look at the cover, you'll see all the labelings here for the inputs, the LEDs, and also your buttons here. Off to your right, you have the DC input, And off to the left of that, you have anywhere from 90 volts to 250 volts. So that powers up the board. So we're going to use a DC input. When you plug that in, the first indication you're going to see is this blue light blinking over here. And we're not going to get into all the details because there's so much about this piece. You have tiny dip switches here, and there's all different kind of functionalities that you can enable on how you want these outputs to work. On the actuator, you have two different wires. You have a red and a black. And the way these work is if you apply power one direction, it goes into one direction. If you reverse the polarity, it then goes into a different direction. So it doesn't really matter. You can't really get this wrong. You can swap them around if it doesn't go in a direction you anticipated it to go. But what's important here, we're going to use two relays, and we have three different inputs here on the relays. One, we have a normally open, we have a common, and we have a normally closed. Relays are really cool and they can do a lot of different things. But for this purpose, let's just focus on how this is gonna work. Here in the middle, we're gonna put the actuator into the common, all right? And I wanna make sure that it doesn't come out. So we're gonna push down on these pins, and we're also gonna put that in. So right now we have our actuator going into both common. Now, I will state that it is really important to make sure you do not have power plugged in while you're going through this process. With 12-volt devices, more than likely you can burn the transformer or blow them out. This is my power supply wire that's going to be controlling the actuator. So here I have my negative and here I have the positive. We're going to put the negative into the normal close input here. We want to take the positive leg and put it on the normally open on relay number one. Again, you always want to tug on the wire just to make sure that it goes in properly. All right, so now I'm going to take a piece of jumper and tie the two relays together. So we're going to go from normally closed, and then we're going to go to normally close on this relay. So that's that. Next, we're going to have another piece of wire here, jumper, plug that in, pull on it, make sure it's fine. Now we're going to take this one and run it into the normally open on relay one. So now, see that? I tugged on it and it came right out. That's exactly what you want to do, is to double check and make sure these doesn't come out. So make sure it's in there all the way. There we go. And that is pretty much it. Basically, with the relays we have now, we're gonna be able to turn this one on, turn that one on, turn this one on, and depending on the one that we turn on and off, it's gonna apply a positive voltage to here or a negative voltage to here. And that's how the actuator is gonna go in and out. And with that part done, the next thing we wanna do is plug in the actuator. So by default, this should work. Let's see. So open coffee table. Open coffee table. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong relay, so it should be this. Sorry, had to double check the cover. So this is relay one. All right, so one thing I do want to show you guys, because I know there was a lot of discussion about how loud the actuator was, and if you can believe me, it's not as loud as it actually sounds. So one of the things with actuators, at least with the ones I have, is they're not that loud. When you then place it on a piece of subject, it amplifies the sound of the actuator. Let me show you. So, all right, let's bring it in. All right, so this is it. And that probably sounds loud depending on how my microphone is picking up, but if I lay it down on the table, listen. It amplifies the sound. Right? So one thing you probably could do is use foam, and I don't know if I have a piece of foam to give it a quick test and see. The closest piece of foam I have to me is a piece of sanding block, right? We're gonna use that to absorb the sound and test the difference on just having it touching the bare wood versus having some kind of sound absorbent piece in between. Let's give it a shot. So right now it's on the surface and you can see the sound. Listen. So even pressing this down, you can see the sound is clearly being absorbed by the sponge. So I hope that answers your question on how loud the actuator is. And to me, it's not that loud. I think that the microphone is actually amplifying the way it sounds. I'm going to turn on this and see if that commands work. Now, if I remember correctly, the one I put in here, Alexa, turn on projector open.
Okay.
So right now it's already open, so it's not gonna do anything. Alexa, turn on projector close.
Okay.
So as you see, it does listen to the command and it all works by voice. So as it's opening, if you can say it fast enough, you can stop it. Alexa, turn off projector open.
Okay.
And it should stop it there, wherever it's at. So you can open it and stop it. Now, it could be dangerous if you have little kids and you tell it to close and you're not paying attention. They can stick their hands in it without any sensor. It will close and this thing will put some pressure on it because it will not stop. There's a screw turning inside of here and it's not gonna stop by just sensing a little pressure. Alexa, turn off coffee table. See, in mid-action, I can stop the coffee table by saying, Alexa, turn off coffee table.
Okay.
Right, so what happened here is the device is named coffee table. Relay 1 and relay 2 is named projector. So I have this as projector open, projector closed. So as these are operating, I can just say coffee table off and it instantly stopped the action of the coffee table. So for me, I used the existing hole that was in here that I used to pass the power wire through, and I just have the Echo Dot. This is gonna be placed right under the coffee table, and this will allow it to hear me clearly. I mean, overall, I think it's a pretty cool concept. Personally, I'm not sure I'm gonna use it. I just wanted to show you guys and give you a solution if you wanted to use it. So if you wanna be cool, I mean, be cool. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm gonna tell you that if you want to go this route with the Echo Dot, I would totally recommend having another way to open the coffee table and not just rely on the Wi-Fi relay with the integration with the Echo Dot. And the reason being is if your Wi-Fi ever go down, then you'll be stuck and really won't have a way to open this until your Wi-Fi come back. So what I'm going to recommend is using a double pole, double throw switch that you can utilize here and maybe mount that under the bottom, and that way you can just reach under there and open it if you really needed to get inside. Now there's one more thing to think about. If you notice, I have to give this kind of a long command just so it can do the function that I want it to do. The reason for that is, one, you have to alert the Alexa to let it know that, hey, you want it to do something. Next, you have to give it a command you want it to turn on or off, and then you want to say what you want it to do. For example, with this coffee table, I named it projector open and projector close or something like that. It will go a little something like this. Alexa, turn on projector open.
Okay.
And then it starts to open. Alexa, turn on projector close.
Okay.
And there you have it.